What's up, everybody? Sean the Man here, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. We are back. We are back with episode 5 of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms in the name of the Mother. And oh my gosh, what an episode! Obviously, we did not have one the previous Sunday because that was Super Bowl Sunday, so we had to kind of wait a little bit longer for episode 5. But man, what an episode! Oops, sorry. This show has it's just been so good. Towards the end, well, not just towards the end, but like my jaw was just dropping at several different moments throughout this episode. It was just, oh my gosh. Okay, so to recap, we know this is trial of seven Dunk and his six, Sir Arian and his six. So 7 versus 7, and whoever wins. Um, it starts off obviously with Baelor Targaryen basically being the leader of the group, and just kind of like, hey, don't break your ranks, da 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 da. Um, leave the King's Guard to me. Everybody, they're just going over the strategy and stuff like that, and I love it because Dunk tells Egg, his Lance Squire, and then like he does, that's all he says, and he starts to move away. But then he just turns around. You best be here. If not, I'll chase you with dogs. And Egg is just like, just wolf, kind of like what we saw in episode 3, I think, 2 or 3. And it is intense, like, both because it's both Raymond and Dunk. This is the first time doing this. Um Everybody else has done had experience with this. So the sound charges, and it's a clip we've seen from the trailer where everybody's racing. Dunk is hesitating. Anxiety seems to be building up for him. You can hear Egg telling him to go, and then he finally kicks it into gear and goes. And um, him and Arian they collide. Um, and Don't gets his shield gets broken in half, and he gets speared in the side and falls to the ground, and then he kind of gets hit unconscious. Then we go into a flashback, and this is a much younger Dunk living in which I believe to be King's Landing. Um, there seems to be some kind of battle. I think it was Damon's Rebellion. I think that's what they called it in the episode, where Dunk is on the battlefield, just scraping to get like pieces of metal and stuff like that to probably like sell for money and stuff like that. He come across a dead soldier, not technically dead, but he tries to kill him. To, I guess, ease his pain and everything. But a girl comes up and stops him. Um, but the guy passes away. But she's like, check his teeth. She knows a witch that will give a copper for him. I was like, okay, that's kind of gross. But obviously the episode is, we go through, they arrive back at King's Landing, and it's just filled with people who are injured. There's like rats everywhere. It is a trashy place, which I think is like that in Game of Thrones as well. So not much has changed during, I guess you could say, during that time for King's Landing, or at least the residents of King's Landing, in that particular part of the city. Um, they try to go in and get to sell some stuff. They're stop by a guy. I don't think they ever said his name. No, Alistair. I think it was Alistair was his name. And he doesn't let them, kind of like, he doesn't let them pass. And it's like, what's in the bag? And Dunk's like, rats. And goes to pull a knife. But like, oh, let's see then. But a little bit of commotion goes through, and um, Dunk and the girl are able to slip away. But beforehand, the girl steals the guy's flask and obviously drinks some of his, whatever it was in it, wine, alcohol, whatever it was, and um, tosses it to the side. So we learned that this girl's name is Rafe. Um, That's pretty much all we know. It seems like her and Dunk have been together for quite some time. Um, and what they're doing, or what they've been doing, is trying to collect enough silver to leave King's Landing and go to the Free Cities. Um, and the young actor playing Dunk is good in this, playing that character. And Dunk, there's a moment where they're like sitting and talking because Dunk is talking like, maybe he doesn't want to leave because his mother might come back for him. Now, I believe he said he knows his. Let me see. I still have it pulled up here at the time of me recording. I believe she. I believe he. Let me see. He says, "What if my mother comes back for me?" And he said, "I'm not stupid. I know she's dead." Okay. So he does know that she is dead, but like I guess maybe like her spirit or something like that. What if that comes back looking for him and he's not here? But the girl Rafe she is determined. She's like, you know, I want to leave and everything. Gets because she also said something too because she talked about like how people in Flea Bottom, um, because she talked about how like if you hurt someone, they're gonna want to hurt you back at some point. And she's like, everybody in Fleet Bottom has been hurt, and it's basically a ticking time bomb before something comes off or if something goes off. Um, and then obviously, I guess because like Dunks or no, Rafe is like talk about like how you love me, and Dunk's like yeah, and then she's like I love you too, which is why we got to leave and everything. And so the plan is in the morning they're gonna go down to the docks or at least go to where they need to go to get shipping or not shipping to like ship out and everything to the free cities. And Doug's kind of like, what if the free cities are just as bad? What if the whole world is bad? And it's just it is pretty bad. It is the whole world is pretty bad. But there are some good places, I'm sure. But so the next morning, they get up, they head out, and make their way to, I guess, the shipmaster or whoever they need to speak to in order to book passage to the free cities. And she has them like I think it was like two silver. But however, because they're not the only ones trying to leave the city, the price is doubled. Which I don't know what the like they had a bag full of silver that we see here in a few minutes. So I'm curious on like could they not have paid that? Like how much actually was it? So that's just a me thinking kind of thing right there. Um and so they go to head out, but they run into Alistair, who is not happy that Rafe took his basically his flask, and she's like, I sold it and we'll get it back. And so they basically they rob him, and um they get the silver, and he talks about how stealing from uh what did he say? I gotta find it here real quick. Uh oh, L skin is what he called it. So because like he said because Alistair's like little gutter rats don't have silver. Dunk's like we earned that. Um, he said, and Alistair says, stealing from dead nobles is still stealing." And then Dunk's like, "What is it that you're doing to us?" And he's like, "It's life." And so, um, you think that that's gonna be it. Alistair kind of like nods to tell his friend to let Duncan go, and so they both Duncan and Rafe start to make their move, but we see Rafe grab Alistair's knife, which I don't know why she did that. Like did she think she could like do it again? Because he goes and maybe he goes to reach for it. What did he do? Because 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 we see her grab the knife. Even Dunk's looking at her, and with the knife in his hand. It may have been just the way he was standing. Let me see. Oh, he goes to feel. Maybe he felt like something was off, and that's when he realized, that's when he realized he didn't feel his knife, maybe, and so he goes right back after her. Definitely not happy, and he goes. Oh yeah, that's right. He goes, grabs her, he grabs the knife, and then slits Rafe's throat. And I was really surprised about that. I was just like, oh, and like Dunk sees that right then and there. Um, and then Rafe like just starts bleeding out on the ground. Dunk starts attacking Alistair. Um, Dunk, obviously Alistair gets the upper hand, throws him to the ground, and then he gets speared. Dunk gets speared in the leg through a spear. And then just when you think that's going to be it for Dunk, Sir Arlen Pennytree comes out and he's just like, "You leave that boy alone." I don't know how drunk he was or what, but he handled business. He took care of him. He killed both guys, um, and then left. Went about his way. Um, I'm not sure what the time lapse is, but Dunk goes back to his hideout that he had with Rafe after leaving her body and everything like that. There was also real quick. There was like a just a gross scene because Sir Arlen chops off one of the guy's heads, and it falls into a pig pen, and you could see the pigs start to eat it. I was like, oh dear God. I mean, I know pigs can eat anything, but I was just like, oh, that's disgusting. But but anyway, so it go so we see the next morning or so, Dunk is just distraught and everything. He just lost Rafe. When he hears Sir Arlen's name outside, um, and then the next couple of scenes is just basically Dunk following Sir Arlen around. Now I don't know. It's pretty clear that Sir Arlen didn't know Dunk was following him. Maybe. Half the time we saw Sir Arlen, he was drunk, and singing with the horses and everything. But we go and we get to a point to where like Sir Arlen wakes up one morning, probably like stabbed himself a little bit while he was sleeping. He's getting ready to like head off, and he notices Dunk, and he goes over, hands him like a little flask of whatever was in there, water, ale, whatever, and he says, "Get up." And then at that moment, we jump back to the present, and the battle's still going. Um, Dunk is getting his shell rocked. He is just getting knocked all over the place. And then we get to a point to where it's him and Arian fighting against each other. Arian gets some shots on him. He stabs him a good bit. He doesn't stab Dunk in the eye, but something happens to Dunk's eye. Um, and so uh, Dunk at a certain point like is able to get an upper hand. Is able to like pin Arian against like a little stone. Um, what's it called? What's the word? Brazier. I think that'd be the proper maybe the proper term for it. And slices him like kind of like in his inner thigh. Um, but Dunk falls over, and right then and there you think he is dead. But you have um Egg just continuously cheering him like, "Get up, sir! Get up, sir!" And then not only that, you had one of the what's the word? No, I don't. One of the adult females, if you want to call her that. She's cheering on, and everybody's like looking at her like, "What are you doing?" And she's kind of like just sits down. But you have Egg just yelling and yelling and yelling to get up Sir Duncan, and Dunk he does look dead. He does look dead. Like he has taken some hits. Um, and Lord Ashford is getting ready to like blow the horn to basically call it. Um, but we see a quick flash of uh, Sir Arlen yelling, "Get up!" And Dunk just wakes back up, gets up, and goes. Him and Arian continue their fight. They go at it, and Dunk gets the upper hand and just beats Arian to a pulp, making him say, "I yield." And then he's like, look, Dunk's looking around at everything, the battle's still going, and he drags Arian and holds him up and tell him, and Arian's like, "I withdraw my accusation," thus ending the trial with Dunk being the victor. The Raymond and the blacksmith come and grab him to help him as he is beat up, and they gotta cut the armor off and get him taken care of. Uh, Baelor Targaryen comes in and just said, "I'll send for my maester to get him," and Dunk's like, "Lord Baelor, I'm your man," and basically, and Baelor's like, "We need good men in the realm." He has Raymond remove his helmet because it's cracked. It's like a massive blow from his brother's mace, as he says, and as the blacksmith goes to pull off his helmet, both Raymond and the blacksmith are just kind of like speechless. And you see Baelor grab his head. It was a weird little shot with like Baelor in the foreground and then Raymond and the blacksmith in the background. It was a little weird little shot, not like green screenish, but it was a weird look of it. But besides that, Baelor turns around and you can see the back of his head has just been bashed in, and he falls to the ground, basically dead. And that is how the episode ends. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, what an episode that was. Holy heck. And now we have one more. Next week is the final episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And man, has this series been so good. I've enjoyed every single week of it. And I just can't wait to see how this ends next week. But guys, that is relatively it. That is my episode 5 review of A Night of the Seven Kingdom. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. But other than that, I will see you guys in the next video. You guys have a good one.